Tata Neu is combining all of these products and services together to make sure that they deliver the consistent experience to the consumers of Tata Neu, which is kind of hard challenge.
But if you're a person who's looking at B2C industry, consumer-facing industries in digital products, you have to stop calling yourself a UX designer, I believe. Start calling yourself a consumer experience designer. Means the design system at the end is the same, but the theming of the design system changes according to the brand.
What are the upsides that you have got by working in this different kind of cultures altogether?
Everybody really believes in them. Starting with leadership is how the culture really flows. It was not that difficult to create a consumer-facing UX. In B2B though, there the relevance of UX, wireframing, analytical thinking, talking to users, etc. will still hold value.
Is there any processes or a framework that you are currently following to making sure that the user is getting the consistent experience, but team is working on the most prior thing which comes on their plate? Welcome to another episode. Today I am thrilled to host Ankur Sardana, a veteran product designer, educator, and a head of design and research at Tata Neu. With over 19 years of experience, Ankur has worked across the spectrum, from global enterprises like Samsung to fast-scaling platforms like OLX and Roundglass, where he built and nurtured high-performing design teams. At the heart of his journey lies a deep commitment to user advocacy, team culture, and innovation principles that have helped him lead design transformations across industries and continents. Currently at Tata Neu, Ankur is leading the charge in shaping the design and research vision for what is arguably India's largest and most ambitious super app, uniting diverse brands under a single digital umbrella. Outside of work, Ankur is also a performer and improv coach, channeling creativity and spontaneity into both design and life. In this episode, we talked about the UX challenges of uniting brands from diverse industries, how design teams adapt to projects of varying sizes and scopes, tackling the complexity of visual simplification, why switching organizations can fuel growth for designers, and the critical role organizational culture plays in shaping a design career. If you are navigating scale, team building, or cross-industry design, this episode is packed with candid reflections and real-world strategies from a seasoned design leader. Don't forget to follow and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and YouTube. Your support helps us bring in more insightful conversation with industry leaders to help you grow in your career. Let's dive in and hear from Ankur. Hey Ankur, thanks for joining today. It's a pleasure having you.
My pleasure. Exciting to be here in the city of traffic. It's a beautiful office. Thank you for inviting me.
Ankur, if we hear about Tata, right, the first word that everyone's mind comes is trust, because the legacy they have built over centuries, I would say, right, and uh, the legacy also comes from different variety of factors, I would say, right. The kind of products that they sell, the kind of services that they offer, and so on, which is not easy, of course. If we see the one layer above from that, right, we have a Tata Neu, of course, which is combining all of these different brands all together,
Yeah.
which has a different kind of audience, customers, that brand presence, their experiences, their customer support, and so on, which is so much deep into it. You are currently heading a team of designers at Tata Neu. And also at the same time, Tata Neu is combining all of these products and services together to make sure that they deliver the consistent experience to the consumers of Tata Neu, which is kind of hard challenge. Help us understand, how does you and your team do the magic in a way that it delivers the experience for the consumers?
You're starting with a very difficult question, but uh, so it's a huge responsibility, and you started with the fact that it's Tata, so it's not any other organization. And trust me, every person who has joined the organization is there for this reason. We
Yeah,
all have grown up with the stories of Tatas, and
their
it is always,
foundational legacy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is a privilege to be there around places where you hear these stories and so close to these. And
Mm.
so yes, I would say first of all, it's a privilege to be a part of the Tata Group in some ways. Tata Neu is a very challenging proposition from a design point of view, because what we are trying to do is to bring a lot of loved brands which are already established in their own right. Some of them so old, and some of them new but extremely loved. across the country.
Yeah.
And so, how do you bring them together and try to be consistent? We realized we cannot be
Okay.
consistent, which means that these are vertical experiences in their own right. So, if you want to buy electronics, you like Croma.
Correct.
So, how can we actually sell grossly like electronics? It's a little difficult. Amazon
At the
can do
same
it, yeah.
time, there is an automobile also. At the
Yes,
same time, there is a
yes,
Titan also.
absolutely. So what we have done is let the brands own their space as they do,
Okay.
which means the design system at the end is the same,
Hmm.
but the theming of the design system changes according to the brand. So we
Okay.
have the same design system and we have different themes for different brands, which makes sure that the brand does not get reduced to any degree.
Hmm.
So a big basket looks like big basket. It's very similar to the experience that you have on big basket. But when it comes to checkout, when it comes to payment, those are
Hmm.
the areas where you want to converge. So you
Okay.
can have the experience of the vertical in the way the brand is already known for. And
Hmm.
then when it comes to bringing it together at the end, common experiences or what we call as global experiences, which are like
Yeah.
checkout, looking at the how many new coins have you earned, discounts, etc. All of these things can come together towards the end. So that's how we are dealing with it, and it's challenging because nothing like this is there for us to really make understand that this works or that works. So a lot of experiments happen. We learn through those.
Hmm.
We are building native experiences to have more control over
Okay.
these different experiences as well.
Can you put
Uh,
some lights on those?
Yes. So, for example, Chroma is a native experience that we have,
Yeah.
which means that we can own the design system completely, change through it, etc.
Hmm.
Whereas if you look at Click or Website, those are not native systems as of now. So, which means that
Right.
we'll be going to a web interface, come back, and so
Hmm.
so there could be some inconsistencies there. So the idea is to ultimately, have as much consistency as possible towards
Hmm.
areas which are global, but still give vertical experiences as consumers want them, as they know those brands to provide that they provide already. So
Right.
yeah, so that's the way we have approached it. Yeah.
Understood. Was there any particular challenges in terms of bringing this different set of design systems together and combine it with the native and global in a way? Because what I'm seeing from this perspective is that sometimes the app experience is good to be delivered, right? But it also comes at a number of different tech problems also, right? If you consider the amount of tokens that you need to worry about, the amount of
Absolutely.
file size that you need to worry about, right?
Yeah.
How did you navigate these challenges in a way and make sure the design system comes together?
It has taken us a lot of time.
Hmm.
It has taken us almost an year to get these things together in terms of a design system which we now consider robust enough to
Okay.
uh, help. But still we have challenges. So there are, for example, experience like fashion which might need immersive widgets, which
Hmm.
might not be useful for a grocery experience which you order
Correct. Yeah.
every single day. So there are demands of every category which we need to look at, and because we are telling the story through brands, we still have to do the storytelling. So
Yeah.
unlike say other sellers where we can let the experience be similar, we still want to keep the sanctity of the brand and the story of the brand much more,
Hmm.
which means that what you are saying becomes important for us.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
a lot of variations in widgets that we have.
Hmm.
So every card component will have like 17 variations, 18 variations,
Yeah.
although they are limited set of basic components.
Hmm.
So we are trying to restrict it to under 30 in a way. But then each of these components would then go in its own variation, and which becomes problematic at some point of time. But that's the only way I think we can manage it. We have to
Hmm.
control the number of components
Yeah.
because it cannot just go overboard, because then a lot of inconsistency will creep in. But
Yeah.
we also have to provide for enough immersion for the categories that need it, and which means a lot of variations in different components.
Hmm. And you're currently heading a team at Tata Neu, right? So every single designer also need to make sure that the components that they are using also being well communicated to the developer to leverage the same component again and again. So have you set up any good framework or principles so that in a way designers can easily communicate to developers and there is no back and forth or any miscommunication happens over there?
Absolutely. Like most good organizations, we have invested in a microsite. That
Hmm.
microsite is like the Bible for
Okay.
the front end developers, for
Hmm.
designers, and so we have a specific design systems team within the design team, which keeps this sacrosanct. And I kind of borrowed this concept from Amazon, where the
Hmm.
design system team is very, they don't, in fact, talk to people much as well. So they're like almost a secret society, and
Okay.
working somewhere. And they, what I'm trying to say is that they keep the design system very sacrosanct
Okay.
after it's done well. So once, obviously, take your time to do it. So that's what we did. We took almost an year to do it. But when it's done, now we have to keep the sanctity of the design system,
Hmm.
and it has to be documented very well. So we have a whole process of, so we have these components which have variations. Everything is available on the microsite. As a designer, you can
Hmm.
download or look at the Figma. As a developer, you can look at the Flutter file, and it's integrated in the widget book is integrated in the microsite, so you can
Oh.
see and explore the components there and then.
Even for that will be really helpful for someone who have joined maybe a week ago,
Absolutely. And product managers,
and for product
for
managers. Yeah.
example, there are many projects that we can't help. There's a bandwidth issue, or so the product managers are proactive.
Hmm.
You are most welcome to come and see what you can do and play around with. So it becomes like uh, I think, a very important thing for any good design team to have a
Hmm.
place which they can keep as sacrosanct, have a process now to update the components as well.
Yeah.
In fact, in Amazon, we used to have a newsletter which used to come and tell that, this component has been updated like this, so that you make sure that the development teams also do that. So this
Okay.
whole chain which then starts, then because they know who has used, they would send the mail to them as well.
It's kind of maintaining a product that complements the real product.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when we talk about skill sets which designers should be proud of, design system, I think
Hmm.
right now at least is for me up there.
Hmm. Yeah.
Creating and being able to manage a design system is not a mean skill. It's a huge skill, and
Hmm.
we need to look at skills which will keep us relevant.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
design system, currently at least, is at one of the topmost skills. If you know how to create a good design system, if you know the technicalities of it, you can
Hmm.
create it in a way which is useful for developers. Figma is supporting
Yeah.
always. Maybe they should sponsor this as well. And so so that's what is happening. I think the design system is such a core component of the development process that we all need to invest in it, and I guess we have.
Interesting. When we have started this conversation, you put very much emphasis on the different brands as a different uh, importance of the uh, importance of the real estate, I would say, on the app itself, because not every single one will be coming there to buy a, let's say, car today, right? There'll be more number of users will be interested to buy anything from the retail than the jewelry or automobile or anything of that sort, or maybe Croma in that case, right? So there is a different amount of need required for different brand on the app itself. If we see this from the execution perspective, from the internal priority that you have, that also affects the same way, I would say, because every time there will be not many changes which will be happening on the maybe lower not lower use but less use vertical of the Tata Neu, right? So in a way you have to also prioritize that what is working best and what is not working, but making sure that the consistent experience is delivered
Right.
to the user. Is there any processes or a framework that you are currently following to making sure that the user is getting the consistent experience, but team is working on the most prior thing which comes on that plate?
Right. So this is a difficult task for us,
Hmm.
because what we are saying is that we provide almost a universe of products and services.
Yeah.
We need to communicate that also
Hmm.
in the first fold. That becomes almost a huge challenge for us, and it needs to be attractive as well for people to stay.
Yeah.
So how do you communicate such a large amount of information in such less space, has always been a challenge. And we
Hmm.
have tried a lot of different things, and we keep trying now as well. So that's one. How do you communicate what we stand for? Because
Right.
what we stand for doesn't exist.
Hmm.
We are not like anybody else. So how do we, how do we differentiate? How are we different? So that's uh, the first thing that we want to communicate. Of course, personalization plays a huge role.
Hmm.
And like, again, every other data oriented organization, we are also extremely data friendly, which means that there's a huge personalization which is involved. So most likely, if you and me are sitting here, we will not see the same screen.
Yeah.
It will also affect to the main first fold as well. Even in fact, that might also change. The categories might also change
Hmm.
depending on what we're used to, and location, of course, definitely, but what we're used to as well. So there's a huge personalization component that we have in the application, which, for example, financial services is extremely dependent on um, upon the fact of personalization.
Yeah.
Because
Correct.
if you're sending something to a person who is not oriented towards doing that, you're going to waste their
Hmm.
time and your own time and your efforts. So I think, but I also feel that this is what most people are doing. So we are no different, just that
Hmm.
we are also aware that data is the only way to go in terms of
Hmm.
cohorting, and we are going very big on that. Is how I look at it. So our challenges are: a, how do you first of all communicate to a
Hmm.
person who is still not experienced this,
Hmm.
and once they have done that, then how do you make sure that according to their usage and their profile, how do we mix and match things and give to them what they prefer? And once we know that they are a certain kind of users, then of course we're trying to give them more of that. But the idea is also, even though they should do this more,
Right.
but can they try this as well? Because we have this
Hmm.
also. Because at the end of the day, for us, it's important for them to explore the whole universe and
Hmm.
not get stuck to only one kind of behavior that they have on the app. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's I think a designer's Alice in Wonderland scenario where you have such interesting user problems to solve,
Hmm.
because they're
Hmm.
clearly user problems, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, very exciting.
Makes sense. But in that particular case, uh, designers will be not getting the same kind of a work again and again internally, if we see, right? Because uh, there will be number of things which is happening across verticals.
Mm.
So let's say, as in a use case, there might be some regulation changes on finance, might come as a priority.
Yeah,
Something changes on retail might come as a
that's true.
priority. And at the same time, both can be having a different amount of sprints required for each different projects. So for anyone listening to this episode, I want to ask you from that how one can prioritize those challenges.
So there's a very simple framework that we follow, and it is a very obvious one, but I still would like to share it with the audience. It's a three-step process or three parts process. The first part being support. So what we do is we divide our projects into three kinds of cohorts. The first is support, the second is improve, and the
Hmm.
third is ignite.
Okay.
So support is the kind of projects where we don't want to stop anything which is important. So the exactly the point that you made around, say there's a new regulation for a
Hmm.
financial product, we cannot stop it. Like,
That
it
has
has to be
to,
done,
yeah.
and it has to be done very urgently.
Hmm.
If we start putting a thinking hat, innovation, we are only going to delay the process, and that's not good for anybody.
Correct.
Or there is something which is done and dusted.
Hmm.
uh, do we really want to reinvent the wheel there? No, we don't want to. There are bigger things to solve. So in those cases, we just call them support projects. It doesn't
Hmm.
mean that it cannot be a bigger project. It could be actually a bigger project, but still it'll be a support project if we are not really going and starting to think of how, what user, and about what everything else. So it's
Yeah.
very clear. It's
Needs to be done and has to be done.
needs to be done, has to be done.
Hmm.
Let's be clinical about it. Let's do
Yeah.
it as efficiently as possible. Let's not beat around the bush.
Right.
The second project is a kind of an improvement project where you're saying that, okay, this feature existed, I want to improve this feature,
Hmm.
or there's a new version, or something in that order, and where we feel that we do need to talk to users, or
Okay.
we do need to look at data very seriously in this. What are the bounce rate, what is the CTR on this page, etc., etc. So we understand, you need to understand and get some triangulation done in terms of data and user research.
Hmm.
And the third kind of project is ignite,
Hmm.
where it is started almost by us, or the seed
Okay.
has been put in by, say, the leadership,
Hmm.
and they're still thinking. For them to, uh, for for us to help them to visualize it better, we accept those projects as vision
Okay.
projects.
Might be innovative idea also.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is the place where there is some possibility of blue sky thinking.
Hmm.
This is the place where we can show where the failure rate is extremely high in terms of acceptance. So,
Correct. Correct.
80 of 100 will not even go past the first presentation, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. In fact, I feel we need to be more okay with failure as designers, because otherwise people start becoming very ordinary or average, I would feel,
And
because
that's why I think the
mm,
the team rightly called as research and development. Otherwise, it won't be.
exactly, exactly. You're absolutely right. And that's why I'm a little uh, worried about when people start becoming practical very soon in their careers. And if you get a bad manager, for example, at the start, imagine you're a young student, you just come
Hmm.
out of college, your first job,
Hmm.
and you go with a brilliant idea. It's a good idea, but it's impractical, and you
Hmm.
might also know it. And
Correct.
you go to your senior, and your senior says, "This is not going to happen.
Hmm.
Don't waste your time. Let's do this," or something of that order, where you know gubbare mein se you just took the
Yeah.
hawa out of it, something of that sort. Now, what is going to happen is that this guy is not going to come back,
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
likely again ever, and would accept the fact that my senior has done well in life. He has been accepting these kind of adjustments. This is the way it's done.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
very, very important. And I'm digressing right now, but just, I thought I'd still share it, that when you have juniors coming to you and you're a
Hmm.
manager or you're a leader, and this idea is not going to go anywhere, curb that feeling of trying to advise that this won't go. Test it out. Maybe it does.
Yeah.
Even if 5% chances of that happening, let them create the vision.
Maybe the case that, when you may have imagined that idea and tried out, the time were different. Now it might work.
Bilkul. It can be so many things that, or it might be a bias,
Huh?
right? And yeah, so coming back to the Ignite projects,
Yeah.
these are those projects where there is some seed of thought process from the leadership, or we have been looking at something as a design research team, and we feel that
Hmm.
we should try this thing and present it to the leadership. When I say leadership, it's the executive leadership teams and people who can take calls on go, no go kind of scenarios. It also helps them understand what is possible,
Hmm.
because everybody is in the current.
Correct.
All of
Correct.
us are in the current, and it's easy to decide 30 days, difficult 1 year, and then very, very difficult 5 years. 10 years to chhod hi dete hain. So 5 years horizon, or
Hmm.
3 years horizon, or 2 years horizon is where we feel that we can also push the Ignite projects. But it need not be just that. We can
Right.
do Ignite projects in a smaller time frame as well. But the idea is, go for innovation,
Hmm.
go for what your gut tells, go for visualizations, show it to people what can be possible. And that is where again skill sets come in,
Right.
which again are very, very important. So yeah, so this is how we divide our projects, Hemant, and this is how we divide our projects. And I've also seen that in different companies, in different uh, maturity level of the company,
Hmm.
you put different percentages to these stages. So say if
Okay.
you are in an Amazon, which is a very established stage, and you are in a team where it might not be innovating at that time. So there'll be a lot
Hmm.
of support.
Correct.
So almost 50% support to 40% improvement, and then maybe just 10% of innovation. But when
Correct.
you are here in Tata Neu, for example, we are growing. There is
Hmm.
much more possibility of innovation,
Right.
and this becomes almost like 30 to 40% of
Hmm.
Ignite
Hmm.
projects. So I think that's how it varies according to different maturity level of the organization, as well as you can use this framework.
That is so interesting, and that actually brought me to one other aspect of how your leadership have evolved so far, right? Uh, of course, currently you are heading a team at Tata Neu, which is one of the umbrella of Tata Group entirely, right? It has a different kind of a culture and legacy of centuries today. Uh, but in the past, you have got chance to work with companies like Honeywell, OLX, Amazon, Philips, Samsung, and so on,
Yeah.
which are very big giant in a way.
True.
But what my belief is, if any big giant is there out there today, right? If we see the culture of those organizations, most likely their culture will be very much aligned to the origin of the geography of the company itself. Correct? Uh, and you have got chance to work with all of those companies
Yeah.
coming from Korea, Japan,
Right.
India, US, and so on. I want to know more deep into it to that. What are the upsides that you have got by working in this different kind of cultures altogether? If
Yeah.
you can put some lights on that.
Sure. Lovely question, because it's very true,
Hmm.
and I would start maybe with Samsung,
Okay.
because when you talk about the geography and how it changes things, I think Samsung taught me a lot about that. Samsung is of course a Korean giant. It's the Tata of Korea in a way, and that's how people look at it there. And there are mostly at senior positions there are a lot of Koreans.
Yeah.
Now, of course, they understand English, but their native language is very strong in their culture and in how they
Hmm.
perceive things as well. So even though they understood English, when we presented, at least when I started, I realized that I'm not cutting through. My
Oh.
way of presentation, which is very verbose, or
Hmm.
at least was very verbose, was not cutting through as much.
Hmm.
And it was after I saw things, how others presented and what was working and what was not working,
Oh.
is when I realized that it's not that they're not understanding the English, it's just that it is it gets too overwhelming for
Hmm.
them to get so much of verbosity. Can
Hmm.
I reduce it? And that made me struggle, because you're used to speaking so much. Like even
Of
right now, I'm
course.
speaking a lot
It's
and
a
you'll have to
proper
edit.
it's a proper UX writing problem, I would say.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you have this so many thoughts in your head. How do you keep it consistent? That's why modeling or structuring is so difficult.
Yeah.
How would you create an insight or user insight which is just a single sentence and very crisp
Hmm.
in English, which is easy to understand but still provocative?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they do understand. It's just that don't overwhelm them with a lot of information. And then how do you compensate with the lack of it with maybe an image or a video? So how do
Hmm.
you create that as well to accompany maybe a text?
Correct.
This really helped me to understand how brevity
Hmm.
is so, we lack that skill.
Okay.
We as designers, at least I lacked it completely. And working there for so many years really helped me to hone that skill of be brief and be impactful.
Okay.
And so that was a very big plus that I think I understood from the culture. Obviously, and you need to understand that they're very proud of their culture. So if
Hmm.
if if the people who are very proud about their culture, they want you to know about their culture more.
Of course, yeah.
So I, in fact, uh,
It's human DNA.
yeah, I would not say it for every country, maybe, but at least there's some countries which you can see very clearly that they wear their passion.
But if they love the culture in any segment, if you see the in terms of India, in terms of different states, in terms of maybe some organizations also, if they love their culture, then they will be very vocal about it.
Absolutely, and
Yeah,
it works.
it works.
It
Yeah.
works because when you see everybody's passionate about it, you also start
Hmm.
becoming passionate. I never
Yeah.
was a third person, except the first year where I was looking at it from outside, because being a designer, you start looking at things from outside and you try to find faults and things. But I realized that they're actually passionate about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not a fake thing that you have put on.
Hmm.
It is what it is,
Yeah.
and the more you respect that, uh, if there's a way of greeting, why don't you learn that? It's okay.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if they like that, why can't I do that? So
Hmm.
we still had a lot of people who not do that, but why not? So it's just like your ego comes in middle of understanding the culture, and I think this was a big lesson in
Hmm.
culture, that I realized that from there on, wherever I went, I was like, I need to understand the culture. And um, another big lesson, huge lesson in culture is Amazon.
Hmm.
We all have l- in fact, when I had not been there, even then I was hearing these stories about the culture of Amazon, and how the 10 leadership principles are
Hmm.
posted across. And I went with this attitude ki मुझे क्या
We'll
बताओगे?
see.
Yeah, we'll see. I know all the leadership principles. What can you teach me about leadership
Yeah, because
principles?
most likely culture is look like a document
Yeah,
written
yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
in a
It's
mail or
like those
something
10
like that.
values and principles
Correct.
which HR gives you in the start, and then you forget about it. Nobody talks about it. Or
Yeah,
maybe they're printed somewhere and hung somewhere up.
yeah.
But my God, it's not like that. Although the principles are so simple, customer backwards. Like, is there something not obvious about it? It's very,
Yeah,
very obvious.
correct.
But when you're in a meeting, and in that meeting, there are senior people sitting, and there's an intern
Mm.
who says, but by customer backwards principle, what we are saying is not correct. Everybody stops what they're doing and they listen to that intern also.
My
That is
God,
the power of
principles.
principles in culture.
Mm.
You have actually been able to put it inside in a way that we all now believe it.
Hmm,
And that
hmm,
can only
hmm, hmm.
happen if nobody is faking it.
Yeah, true.
So if, sorry, HR, if it is just that HR is trying to throw things at you
Hmm.
and the leadership is not really showing the value of those principles, no
It's not going
principle.
to be cultivated.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The leaders are the, they have to front end it.
Hmm.
If that day, imagine the intern said customer backwards and we would have, yeah, good. We continued. What would it mean for me who is just joined? It would mean that, yeah, it is one of those things.
Yeah.
But the fact that everybody's changed made me almost like, oh
Okay,
my
they
God,
also values.
they are serious about it. And
Hmm.
they mean it.
Hmm.
Customer backward means customer backwards.
Yeah.
That's it. Customer comes first,
Hmm.
which means that if you call them even now, and that's why they do so well,
Yeah.
because the principles are ingrained in something good.
Hmm.
Of course, that doesn't mean that we'll not earn money. There are business principles as well, and they're equally important. But at the end of it, if everybody really believes in them,
Hmm.
starting with leadership is how the culture really flows. And similarly with Tata,
Hmm.
when we have meetings together, or when we have some brainstorming sessions, and when we talk about values,
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel the power. You can
Hmm.
feel the power. And then you are here for this reason. And that makes you feel very proud. And finally, I'm at a place which is India as well. So it's like, uh, I was being proud for some other culture,
Correct.
which I really like. Amazon culture or the American culture
Hmm.
in totality, which is about, so when we talk as Indians, at
Hmm.
least I come from that place where we'll not say negative things very clearly. We'll
Yeah.
we'll mix it up. I like
Sugar
this.
coated.
Sort of sugar coat karke, and
Hmm.
what you've done is nice.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then later we kya kiya isne? So it's like something of that sort, where we say somewhat scared to say it
Hmm.
upfront, and we don't know what it means, and so we all know that what we are hearing also might be laced with something,
Yeah. So you are
which
never being sure that what is being communicated is the exact thing that they want to say.
exactly. But
Hmm.
Americans are not like that. So if you sugarcoat something, they will believe that it's good.
That's the thing.
So I've realized
Okay.
that it doesn't work with everybody. It's a cultural thing.
Correct.
We
Correct.
do it this way.
Hmm.
If we are in our family, there is some Chacha ji,
Hmm.
and Chacha ji did something wrong. We will not go and say Chacha ji, you did something wrong. This is
Yeah.
because it's Chacha ji. There is no
Hmm.
Chacha ji there. So it's
Correct.
like, Jack.
Jack is Jack
Jack is
for
Jack.
everyone.
Jack, what you did was wrong, and there's no sugarcoating there. Or
Hmm.
Jack, what you did was great, and
Hmm.
then also they mean the complete thing, and then
Yeah.
also they mean the complete thing.
Yeah.
In our scenarios, we don't mean both.
Yeah.
So in fact, a lot of times when praise came to me, I was like,
Question it first.
हाँ ये तो ऐसे ही बोल रहा होगा. So but then I've realized that you have to understand where it's coming from.
Right.
So it's
Right.
coming from a cultural context where it's said like this. So India mein abhi bhi I'm doubtful, but
Hmm.
but if I'm talking to an American, I take it at face value.
Hmm.
Exactly, and I give them also at face value.
Right.
So this was again something very interesting that when you talk to Americans is where I realize that it makes a difference, because we are in design, we're in the business of talking to users so much.
True.
So we need to understand that aspect of this thing with Philips. And what till then, my idea of research, and till then I was in India, so I
Hmm.
was never like really outside India before Philips.
Hmm.
Philips, I got a chance to be in Eindhoven and be there actually where it happens. So I joined the Philips research team. So Philips
Okay.
had a whole wing which was just research. It was called people research,
Hmm.
and they were into extreme research. So my idea of research till then was travel करने को मिलता है. So you do 4 cities,
Yeah.
north, south, east, west, 4 cities, tier 1, tier 2.
Hmm.
You stay in hotels and you talk to people. So if you like talking to people, you do research.
Hmm.
So some kind of mindset, and every design process has some research. So we have to do it, and we get agencies, and that's my understanding of it. What I was in for was a complete surprise
Mhm.
in terms of how detailed research can be and how difficult it can be.
Okay.
As
How?
in, so for example, if you're doing something for a doctor
Hmm.
and the team did a lot of healthcare research, it is such a painstaking process to be uh, in that process, collecting information, one patient after the other, how is the doctor interacting, and it's a lot of information that they collect so
Okay.
that they are able to convince that they are patterns, and then they're extremely important deliverables out of it.
Oh.
What we did was very simplified. We did some research. Okay, let's get some insights maybe quickly and get to some ideas, and that is what today also a lot of people do. But for Philips research, the output, the deliverable was a design problem. So all these were designed and had a lot of process around that as well. For example, one of the things that we used was a walkthrough. So it
Hmm.
would mean that it would be a room this big, which is around, you know 10 meters maybe this side,
Hmm.
and a poster would run all along, which is the
Okay.
day in the life of, say, a heart surgeon,
Hmm.
and extremely detailed. So you're going to walk through each of the steps. There would be photographs of
Hmm.
the doctor, and you will keep going, and everybody's walking through it.
Okay.
So you're experiencing it. The body is experiencing the walkthrough. There's a
Hmm.
difference in all this.
Hmm.
You see a PPT with 3 insights, one persona. So
Just
the
comes and goes away.
goes, and this is a walking experience. So your body has stopped in front of a problem.
Yeah.
It's like that, and then you move, and then you
Actually,
keep
that's an
going.
interesting point. In PPT, actually, slides are moving. Here, we need to move to slides. So
Yes,
you can exactly pay more
yes,
amount of weightage for a particular slide the way
yes,
you want to.
yes. And some people can stay back on the last slide also.
Hmm.
You can't do that in a PPT.
Of course not. Yeah.
Everybody moves as the PPT moves.
Yeah.
But when you have a walkthrough like that and a passionate researcher talking about it,
Hmm.
first of all, it debunks the whole theory about personas.
Hmm.
Personas are so shallow,
Hmm.
and I don't know why and how did they become so important. But that day in a life is much more important than a persona, for example, because
Correct. Yeah.
it's too deep, and
Hmm.
it's in the depth that you will find things. Yes, it's important to create patterns and come up with stereotypes and then design for stereotypes. I don't disagree with that.
But I think designers leave persona with just demographics, numbers, and the variables. That's it. They do not think beyond the persona that there is a
Yeah,
emotions attached to it. There is a psychology attached to it. There is a kind of a different person is who is going to be the kind of a person that you're looking for.
absolutely. The storytelling is so weak in a persona, the way we make
Yeah.
it, and we'll
Yeah.
maybe come to the topic of education, design education right now,
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
way students are being taught.
Hmm.
I don't
Hmm.
think it is of any value, like zero.
True.
किसी को नहीं चाहिए वो persona. The designers are making it for themselves. Nobody wants it. A true persona is
Hmm.
which makes everybody stand up and
Hmm.
agree.
The kind of a
Yeah,
person we are
yes,
here for.
and get emotionally connected to. The
Hmm.
kind of personas and templates that we are using, कोई इमोशन चला जाता है आपका, अगर
Outdated.
आपका
Yeah.
इमोशन
Yeah.
होगा इट विल गो अवे.
Go
so
away.
so it's like that bad and that
Yeah.
shallow.
Huh.
Whereas a walkthrough like that or a deep storytelling, it's almost a storytelling exercise if you look at it.
Correct. Yeah.
A realistic storytelling exercise with, of course, a lot of nuances of data. So and when I'm saying it, it seems like it's just a photograph for collage. No, it's not. It's also, there are so many legends in it. You will understand that how the mood went through the thing, how the
Hmm.
noise in the clinic went through the thing, what time of the day, etc., etc., etc. So it's like so many layers of information that you are getting. It's almost like in a museum of that person.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And what happens in a museum? You reflect. You reflect. And when you reflect, you change yourself and your opinions.
Hmm.
In PPT, we're always trying to push. Here we are saying reflect. You will change by yourself. And then
Correct.
after that, we'll of course talk about the final insights and we'll talk about the design. But let's go through a walkthrough.
Yeah.
So it just changed my perception of how detailed the data has to be collected
Hmm.
and how meticulous you have to be about this whole thing. This is not frivolous at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a field which needs dedication. This needs a field which needs a lot of empathy, a lot of energy, because you have to actively listen to those people the whole day. Now,
True.
the problem with active listening is like what we are doing right now, it will get exhausting after a while
Hmm.
because you're listening with your whole body.
Yeah. Yeah.
एक भी nuance we are not missing.
Hmm.
So, to do that consistently all through the day requires a lot of practice
Hmm.
of actively listening. And so that's what I realized, that I was thinking of this profession as a very
Joyful in
joyful,
nature.
interesting break from my design, this thing.
Yeah.
And this is not. This is
This
I've
is very
understood it
deep.
wrong.
Hmm.
If I need to be a good researcher, I need to be extremely, extremely deep in what I'm trying to do.
Hmm.
This is a very deep field. Let's not be frivolous about it.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
what I learned from Philip's research, and yeah. So I think that's where Philips came into picture, and finally, maybe I'll just spend a couple of minutes in Honeywell. And with Honeywell, the fact that I talked about earlier, and it was my first job,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I was coming from NID, all gungo about changing the world. I was this guy who had this thing of I want to do something
Hmm.
to. I still say that,
All
and
designers have that thought in mind that they
yeah,
want to change the world.
yes, yes, and it's important to have that,
Important, yeah. Otherwise,
because
the innovation will stop at the first
yes,
day.
Darshan, I think if we lose that, we lose a lot. And that's why Honeywell was very important for me,
Hmm.
because my manager at that time, Utkarsh Biradar and Parag Trivedi, these were the guys who let me be.
Hmm.
They could see I'm like being obnoxious about some things. No, no, we should do it this way. The idealism.
Hmm.
They could have easily said that this doesn't work or that doesn't work, or why don't you do it this way? But
Correct.
they just let me be for a good 3-4 years,
Okay.
which was a lot of time.
Yeah.
So and it worked for them as well. They used me in the right places,
Hmm.
because they knew he can say whatever he feels like, and so
Hmm.
it just helped me shape my thought process in a way that saying the right thing is not wrong.
Hmm.
It is okay if your intent is correct
Right.
and if you're not extremely rude about it. So that gives you a lot of confidence as a young designer.
Hmm.
That means that you can be yourself. That we have to do user research. We should do it, etc., etc. So, which I feel, as I said earlier, if I my spirit was curbed at that time, and because I respected these guys so much,
Hmm.
I would have believed that this is the right way to go,
Correct. Yeah.
and I would have changed my stance. But
Then otherwise you would have become the other template of their persona,
correct,
maybe.
correct. So the fact that they let me be and let me be idealistic in my own ways
Hmm.
helped me remain like that for a very, very long time. And
Hmm.
now I can do the same for my juniors. I
Correct.
let them be. And I can see the difference. They're so happy. People who come after, say, one job to me,
Hmm.
they're still there. They're still not completely
Okay.
corrupted. So when they see I'm asking for those questions, they're like, oh, we can do, like, it's almost like हम कर सकते हैं क्या, मतलब इसलिए वो खुशी वाली बात आ जाती है कि
Correct.
oh, that means that we can do this here,
Yeah.
we can. So I say ignite. I
Hmm.
make sure I tell them that there is something called ignite,
Hmm.
which gives them this hope that there is a possibility to
Hmm.
innovate, there is a possibility to think really big.
Hmm. And also
And
from the company's standpoint, if we see, right, there should be a different bucket of work. One is you, of course, have to do, I mean, in order to support the system,
absolutely,
right? And there should be the other work where you also enjoy doing it.
yeah, yeah,
There should be mix of both. Otherwise, you will get
exactly.
bored and lose the energy
You're right.
one day.
See, there's no point in doing just good work without nothing going out in the market,
True.
because then you feel also that you're not achieving
Hmm.
your goals. It has to be a very good balance of both.
Balance, yeah.
And if you put up a framework like that,
Hmm.
then what happens is that you have to look at it, and then
Yeah.
it makes everybody, हाँ, तीनों चीज है. We can look at this and that. So it's important to do that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Ankur, I want to move the lever into a little different direction now. Uh, Not particularly for your team, but I want your opinion on any designer out there, right?
Hmm.
having this AI boom today, having this different kind of features coming from Figma and different tools out there, right? Which is making the junior or associate designer very uh, in the very difficult thought process today, right? Because they
Right.
are kind of threatened by the thought that what will be coming in the next 5 years, 10 years. But what they are looking for in this question itself is that what should be my upskilling pathway, which will make me not just future proof, but at least confident that I do not have to worry about it.
Hmm.
Whatever the direction I'm moving forward with is good enough for me,
Hmm.
right? So, what are your opinions on that?
So, very, very pertinent to discuss this because lately I've been in some institutes as well
Hmm.
where I've looked at courses that their
Okay.
students are looking at, and it scares me
How?
because what they're doing right now
Hmm.
is feeding to the industry as is today. Most of the institutes, and I would not say
Hmm.
all of them, but I would say 90% of them in design currently are feeding into what the industry needs today. In fact, a lot of uh, colleges call their courses as UX UI courses, which I'm like, really, you have taken the D out of the whole thing. There is no
Correct.
D in it. So you're just saying that you will feed into the industry. Now,
Hmm.
industry changes rapidly.
Yeah.
So, and it is changing so rapidly now that it's always exponential.
Hmm.
As you move ahead, you will feel that this time it's more rampant. But we had
It
the
will
same
be
thing when
always the pace.
हाँ पहले इंटरनेट आया तब ऐसे हुआ
Correct.
टच फोन्स आए थे आई वाज लाइक नहीं नहीं ये तो नहीं चलेगा
Hmm.
अब
Hmm.
so
It's norm now.
yeah you would feel there's no feedback पीछे कुछ ऐसा हो नहीं रहा है दब नहीं रहा है those kind
Hmm.
of things where as a designer I was taught ergonomics कि
Hmm.
ergonomically buttons should work but
Yeah.
my first project itself we did not have buttons which
Correct.
were physical and you're in for a toss so that is happening right now as well
Hmm.
the students and the early year professionals are currently in a scenario where they're coming with the skill sets 80% of them or 70% of those skills might get redundant and it's a scary scenario
Hmm.
because let's face it it was not that difficult to create a consumer facing UX
Hmm.
in my view even before for example an e-commerce app
Hmm.
maybe the first one took some time but then from there on you know how it is and it we all follow a similar trend yes there are some innovations etc
Yeah.
in b2b though is a different story
Okay.
there the relevance of UX wireframing analytical thinking talking to users etc will still hold value so if you are a designer who is looking at going into b2b
Hmm.
I think what you are doing right now is good keep at it improve your skills in UX as much as possible, improve your research skills, expand on those areas.
Hmm.
But if you're a person who's looking at B2C industry, consumer facing industries in digital products, you have to stop calling yourself a UX designer, I believe.
Okay.
Start calling yourself a consumer experience designer, which means,
Hmm.
in little words, being a holistic designer and
Hmm.
not just a UX designer.
Okay.
There might be still skill sets like DS required, which is extremely important.
Hmm.
Although, as we are talking, that is also becoming simplified and more simplified.
Correct.
And there will be a scenario where you just define the tokens and the design system just
Takes care of
takes
it.
care of it.
Yeah.
And that's not far, maybe in a year away.
Hmm.
So, what will happen to these designers? They'll have to take up marketing also in their purview. They'll also have to make sure that user centricity, which means is research being done by agencies, also come under their purview. So, a
Hmm.
design leader will should be able to do all of these things together, which was there earlier as well.
Okay. Like how?
Like pehle,
Mhm.
there was only industrial design and visual communication,
Okay. That way. Yeah.
and visual
Yeah.
communication was the person who would handle all of this together.
True.
With technology coming in and we doing so well and
Hmm.
India doing so well with it and the world becoming more diversified in terms of skill sets, these things started becoming more important and especially in B2B UX became extremely big. So if you look
Hmm.
at Nielsen and Norman, they started their careers with mostly B2B areas and
Yeah.
that is where they called it usability engineering and stuff and it expanded in those and we just brought it directly to B2C
Yeah.
without really thinking that do we need that much or not.
Hmm.
So even in startups, if you look at it, there will be one designer who will be looking at everything.
Yeah.
So I feel that we need to look at visual communication and maybe call it consumer experience in totality, which means the consumer experience starts with looking at the advertisement. There are omni channels through which the product reaches out to you. It could be WhatsApp messages, it could be ATL, BTL, it could be something else. Organic traffic coming from web. You need to understand messaging as well. Then the product comes to you. Of course, product is your baby. You have to take care of that, and then post product experience as well.
Correct.
So
Support and all the other stuff. Yeah.
CS, the customer service, how is that happening? So of course you don't become the father of everybody, but what I'm saying is we need to have a holistic perspective in it. So that's one. Especially if you're looking at a career in consumer-oriented applications where the design teams will become more and more lean. So
I want to understand
yeah.
one other aspect here when you say that customer service, right? Which is very evident in the B2B segment. Do you still think that customer success kind of a role will be becoming more and more important in the B2C moving onwards?
Look at it this way that you want a loyal customer.
Hmm.
A customer can be loyal if your experience layer is thick.
Right.
लोग बोलते हैं Indian customers are not loyal. I think that's bullshit. Indian customers are very loyal. If somebody likes a Bata shoe in 1950, they would be still buying Bata shoe.
True.
If you like a Samsung refrigerator that worked well for you, you will be buying a Samsung refrigerator all through your life because the
Even my
experience.
parents still wants a Whirlpool refrigerator anyway.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how many good brands out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is your loyalty, your family's loyalty towards a brand because the experience that you got was a very thick experience. Now imagine an app which is giving you only the UI and it's not giving you a thick experience.
Yeah.
So the loyalty is very low. So the reason from moving from this app to that app to buy milk or this thing is going to happen. Why do we believe that this person will stay with you a longer time? Only if you increase the size of this layer. Which means that you will have to put in customer service in that. And that is why I feel it also comes under the purview of the design team or the thought process user centricity in totality.
Yeah.
So as I said, look at it holistically. Second, own the user centricity at any point of time, in anywhere in the chain. If there is a talk about user,
You should be there.
you should be there. So if it is like communication with the user through CS teams, that also should have a component of design team in it.
Of course, that is with a different kind of intent from a user. If you do not understand that intent well, then how you are going to design the
क्योंकि
good?
गुस्सा तो तभी हैं वो लोग. So
हाँ.
they are angry there. We talk
Exactly.
about empathy.
Yes.
Now that is where empathy is needed. So have
Exactly.
you been able to design the tools for the customer service representatives to be able to solve that?
Yeah.
Are you there in that picture or not? Those are the last tools which any company looks at. And I'm very this thing about
Sad
it. That,
about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again,
yeah.
Amazon does a great job. And you
True.
can see what difference does it make. It makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. The customer service representatives are empowered to take such decisions, which I don't think any customer service representative anywhere is empowered to do. And that makes the whole difference. The experience layer is that thick.
That thick. Yeah.
And you will not lose that customer.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. For you guys, if you have any questions or queries that you think that we haven't covered in this conversation and you want to know from Ankur, please drop us in the comment section below, so we'll get it answered by Ankur. So thank you so much, Ankur, for joining today. It was super interesting conversation.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ankur. Our main goal with this podcast is to bring insightful conversation to help you grow in your career by inviting leaders who are driving impact at scale. If you find this episode useful, make sure you subscribe because that only helps us to invite incredible guests for the future episodes. And in case you have any suggestions about who we should invite and what all topic we should cover, let us know in the comment section below. We are always listening to make sure we deliver exactly what you are looking for.